What's up, YouTube? I'm Robert, and you're watching the B1KER Bar Podcast. I'm assuming like a little bit of like PTSD kind of thing afterwards. That's where you were saying it was pretty bloody, kind of tough to deal with things like getting back into the real world.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you see stuff like that, and it changes who you are.
Yeah,
like I said,
yeah. 100%, man.
Not that it's a sob story, but I knew that it was a good release for me and a good way for me to, focus some positive energy. Because unfortunately, a lot of people transition out of the service after having served in a combat zone, and rather than kind of address those things or find healthy ways to mitigate those problems, they're just trying to drown them out with drugs, alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of us, that's what we learned when we were in. You know, like the way that we dealt with everything while we were in was like, hey, let's go get hammered and beat on some people or something. I was in the infantry, so I mean that's all we did was get drunk and beat people up. It was kind of like, so getting out into the back to the real world is like, wait a minute, man, I don't have a gang rolling with me all over the place. We can just do whatever the hell we want. Right. Plus, I was stationed in Europe too, so it was like for some reason we thought the rules didn't apply to us. It was even worse, Yeah. So no, I get it. So then you start riding, and that definitely gives you some clarity. I know it does for me, and I think maybe you could speak to this as well. But for me, like one of the things that I like, one of the million things that I like about mountain biking is like it does remind me of being in the military. It, like when you're going on a ride and you gotta suck your way up some hill. It reminds me of some bullshit like road march that we had to go on some patrol for 12 hours and the wrong way, and like too hot of a day, carrying too much weight, but you still have like each other, and then whatever, once you overcome everything, like feels good, and it's the same thing as riding, so you have that camaraderie, and you're out in the woods. And I don't know, for me, it's just like, I like that part of it, but I also like the part where you can just kind of tune everything in the whole world out. And it's just, one pedal stroke at a time is really all you're thinking about,
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is it that for you that you feel like it kind of like what helps?
Yeah, so I mean, the things you mentioned, when I ride by myself, it's usually I get up early before work, before the kids are awake, like early morning PT, and I get up. Rather than pre-combat inspections, I'm doing a pre-ride inspection on my gear. I have everything staged. I know where it is. I know what's going on. The solitude is nice, right? And that's kind of one of the things you touched on. Sometimes, and this applies, I think, to everybody, not veterans, but we live in a world right now that's so switched on, right? Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, like you're inundated with information nonstop, 24/7. And to get on a bike and just switch the phone off or put it in your pocket and get out there in the woods, I think is absolutely necessary for everybody.
Yeah.
Because it just gives you a timeout from this, onslaught of bad news, essentially, right? We live in a pretty crazy world now. And
that's the only thing the media wants to talk about, man. They want to talk about butterflies and shit, like they're just like, let's tell you about the doom and gloom. The COVID's going to kill you. Yeah, for sure. If you like that, make sure you check out the full episode. And hey, do me a favor. Before you take off, hit the like and subscribe.